Hey everybody, it's Scott, student of comics, back with another video finally, and this one is not very timely. I planned on doing this video about probably almost a month ago because this is my sort of Rose City Comic Con wrap-up video, or my Rose City Comic Con haul video, if you will. I guess that's essentially what it's going to be, but I did find some cool things at Rose City Comic Con, which happened September 10th through 12th here in Portland, Oregon, and I just wanted to kind of share some of the cool stuff I picked up. So yeah, I guess let's get started. So first up, friends of mine. So my buddy Josh tabled, and I actually was supposed to table with Josh. We both applied for the table, and then due to circumstances, I couldn't get together what I needed to get together to table with Josh. So hopefully next year, that's my plan, is to be more prepared to table. But Josh, they're a really great artist. They did this excellent Demon Rider comic, which is super cool. So definitely check it out. If you live here in Portland, you can actually pick this up at Books with Pictures, I believe. I think Josh got some copies in there. So Josh Comics on Instagram also. And I got another comic by Josh that I think they did maybe a little while ago. I'm not really sure when this was published, but this is really cool too. Ganko's First Snow. Very cool stuff. So definitely keep an eye on Josh. Also, our buddy Nicholas, Doomfruit on Instagram. Awesome stuff here. This is just a really cool sketchbook that they had at the show. So I picked that up. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Super cool stuff. So that's fun, and that's one of the things I really love about Comic-Con is, discovering new people. I mean, obviously I knew these two folks, but you're probably not gonna just find this anywhere. You're gonna find it at a Comic-Con and going and checking out the local artists. So check both of them out. I'll try and I'll link to them in the description below. All right, next up I just wanted to share this collection of stuff from an artist that I've seen at the con before. They make a series of illustrations, pins. I got some stickers here that I'm trying to open with some difficulty. But basically, their deal is, you can see, it's Brian Cook art. So check them out. But their deal is kind of straightforward. It's butts on things. And so I had to pick up it's R2D2 with his butt, coffee, a D20, of course, because I love my Dungeons and Dragons with the butt, and I saw butts at Comic-Con. So yeah, check out Brian's art. Good stuff. Butts on things is a silly but pretty great idea, and I just love that a lot. So pretty cool. Okay, and then next up we're going to do, of course I'm digging through the bins at the con, trying to find cool stuff. I got a bunch of stuff here, some stuff that I never even heard of. So I mean, first we'll just note that I finally picked up a copy of this first part of the Life Death story from Claremont and Barry Windsor-Smith from X-Men. I mean, mainly for Barry Windsor-Smith's art. I had to pick this up. Just really beautiful stuff here. I think this is some of the burgeoning love affair between Storm and Forge there. And I actually found the second issue recently at another local shop, which that's just an awesome cover, it's just really cool. Barry Windsor-Smith artwork there. So finally picked those up at the con. I got this Wildcats issue. I found this randomly, and I got it mainly because it's Travis Charest did the interiors here, which, if you've never seen Travis's artwork, it's probably, I mean, people have different opinions about Jim Lee, but I think Travis Charest's artwork is pretty high approval rating on that. And you got the glossy paper, which is a little annoying on the camera here, but and this is when Travis was a little more Jim Lee-ish, but still, just Travis Charest's artwork is just freaking amazing. So had to pick that up. just, you know, just visually, really good stuff there. And then moving on, I picked up this this random Betty and Veronica. I'm starting to just kind of pick up, and it's a Dan DeCarlo doing it. But I've been picking up some Archie books. I don't know if it's because of the Santos sisters, which maybe I'll do a video on that, on those two books. But I've been just kind of like thinking about Archie. I mean, Archie had a huge influence on Logan Rockets, Jaime Hernandez and Gilbert both. And so I'm just trying to like kind of dip my toe in the Archie world and just see, you know, what's there that's so, you know, so exciting for people. And you know, the cartooning is amazing. The stories are fun and, you know, definitely different than your average superhero stuff. So I've just been kind of picking up random Archie comics. I got this Howard Chaykin Shadow comic, which I do have the trade of this, but it's a pretty nice issue #1 of it. So I had to pick that up. These two I found, I think I found a lot of these in the same spot, but it's this Nexus versus Magnus Robot Fighter. So this is totally like 90s throwback to, you know, that kind of beginning of Valiant and then the kind of early days of Dark Horse. But this is, you know, it's Steve Rude, right? And it's Steve Rude in color. That's kind of cool, this Bloodshot ad. But just, you know, like, look at that Steve Rude stuff. It's so good. So I had to pick those up because I love Steve Rude's work so much. This is something that I was really excited to find because I had no idea that this existed. So this is I guess an anthology that Fantagraphics published in the 80s, late 80s. You can see I think we got a Frank Miller cover there, clearly like sort of Ronin era Frank Miller. And just look at the lineup here. So I'll kind of zoom in here. So Alan Moore and Don Simpson, Jack Kirby and Joe Sinnott, Jack Cronin and Dennis Fujitaki, which I'm not as familiar with them, but then you have Art Spiegelman and Sam Keith. Like, what? Like, and the, oh, and by the way, a new story starring Maggie and Hopi by Jaime Hernandez. And it's in color. So, like, there's a color Maggie and Hopi story. This is the Alan Moore Don Simpson bit, which is just a wild sort of it's very much a like a meta weird thing, but like there's this Crumb homage in there. Later on in the book, I think this is yeah, this is the actually I'm not sure. I think this is like a preview of another story. This is the Fujitaki story, Dennis Cronin Fujitaki story, which is very like kind of reminiscent of a little bit of maybe Charles Vess or something. This is the Kirby Sinnott. You know, it's really just 3 Kirby splash pages with Joe Sinnott inking. But this wild, look at that. What is that? What's going on there? It's just amazing stuff. And the Sam Keith bit I think is a pinup also. Oh yeah, here's the no, it's not a pin. It's this little very short story, the Sam Keith story. So just some creators early in the game or later in the game or right in their sweet spot, and just an unexpected combo. And again, a Frank Miller cover. I had to pick this up. I had to pick that up. Here's another Betty and Veronica RG book that I saw that looked cool. I think it was also because it was Dan DeCarlo. But yeah, I mean, you gotta recognize the cartooning here. Just great stuff. Oh, I picked up this cool Tomb of Dracula, just because it's, you know, Gene Colan and the old ads. Like, I mean, you can get buff. A lot of ads in those old books, but yeah, just amazing Gene Colan stuff here. All the ads, so many ads. But just, you know, beautiful. I think who's inking him in this? Tom Palmer, yeah. So that's who you want to see. Tom was just great. Look at that. And, you know, Tom recently passed away. So that might have been on my mind when I picked this up. Here's a couple more sort of odd things. So I got this Gen 13 bootleg because it's Alan Davis. So I had to check that out. A little nostalgia there. Don't judge me. I picked up this Homage Studios swimsuit special. I've been thinking about maybe trying to pick up the Marvel swimsuit issues too, because there's some cool artwork in there. There's some Adam Hughes in there. There's some Mark Silvestri, but just some cool stuff. I just found this random. I think I got this for free because you can see the cover's all messed up. But this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventure comic. Again, this is totally a nostalgia pickup. Destroyer Duck #2. I'm probably gonna have a hard time finding a #1. But this, look up Destroyer Duck. Maybe this would be worth a video. There's probably a Cartoonist Kayfabe video on it. But this was basically a way for Steve Gerber to stick it to Marvel with the ownership of Howard the Duck being kind of a problematic thing for him. Look it up. I'm not doing a great job of describing it, but yeah, go kind of look up the Destroyer Duck thing. But I found issue 2 of that, which is pretty cool. The guy that sold this to me actually was shocked when I pulled this out. So, which is always a fun reaction. Then I got a couple Milk and Cheese issues. Evan Dorkin, great cartoonist. Milk and Cheese, very absurd. It's very 90s, kind of like DGAF type of stories. So that was kind of cool to find those. And a few more single issues I picked up. I picked up this Peter Bagge Gilbert Hernandez drawn book from DC with a sort of Josie and the Pussycats type homage on the cover. I don't know what this is, but I had to pick it up when I saw Peter Bagge and Gilbert Hernandez. So excited to dig into that more. And then of course, I mentioned Logan Rockets. Found issue 20 randomly. I'm sort of kind of trying to maybe put together a whole run of Logan Rockets if I can. It's kind of a tall order, but I do have quite a bit of it already. I have maybe I probably have at least a third, if not more, of the original run. So that might be something I try to put together in the future. But I found issue 20 there. And then this is something I always love, is finding kind of a lot of the dealers will collect together runs of things that are kind of exciting, and you can get a good deal. So I got this Cosmic Odyssey, which is Jim Starlin and Mike Mignola. This is a little bit of a spoiler showing you the cover to issue 4 there, but it's basically this very Kirby-ish cosmic story of certain DC superheroes actually helping Darkseid and Allfather together kind of take on this cosmic threat having to do with the anti-life equation. So very, very like deep cosmic DC nerd stuff, but really cool. I actually read these. These are pretty fun throwback ebook. So, if you can find the issues, this is only $10 for everything together. But you could also check out, I think there's a nice collection out there, but it was fun reading all the issues together and then in this kind of square-bound prestige format version. And then this was exciting. I actually just recently revisited this book, Earth X. So Earth X was based on some notes from Alex Ross. It was sort of inspired by, DC's Kingdom Come. So a far future where the heroes we know have gone on to sort of a dystopian existence in some cases. And it was drawn by, it was written by Jim Krueger, drawn by Jean-Paul Leon. And that's one of the main reasons, Jean-Paul Leon tragically passed away, I think last year. But his art in this is amazing. And this is, this has been collected, but the collection is out of print as far as I know. So Marvel, if you're watching, I know you are, you should probably reprint this. But this is essentially, the very basic pitch would be it's Marvel's Kingdom Come. That's not entirely accurate because I think there's some different themes going on here and some different things going on with the story than what Kingdom Come was dealing with. But just visually stunning and a pretty cool story with some cool concepts in it. So yeah, I was excited to pick up Earth X and have the whole run of that. So yeah, very cool. I also, again, just kind of wandering through Artist Alley, I ran across this gentleman, John Gebbia, as the artist. I'd done this book called Dose, and it's sort of cyberpunk drug comic. So he sold me on it pretty easily, and like the art's pretty cool. Haven't actually had a chance to read this yet, but yeah, you can see it's good looking book here. Him and Sean Ellis did it together, and it's called Dose. So maybe take a look for it. Definitely for adults, but yeah, check out John's work. He's a really nice guy, and I'm excited to check out this book. Something else that was cool to check out, there was a gentleman, Noah Simonson, who apparently he has a YouTube channel. I think he said it wasn't active anymore, but he put together something. He's a kindergarten teacher, and he put together something called Comics Academy at his school. And he actually had the books that the kids had made there for us to just have. So these were free, and this is like little kids making comics, but this is cool stuff. And I loved hearing him talk about kind of this after school program he has, Comics Academy, where the kids make comics together, print them at the end of the term of the program, and then also these stay in their school library. And part of that was he wanted age-appropriate comics for his students, and he figured one of the best ways to do that was to have the students make the comics, because kids know what they like, and also they get to learn about making comics. It's definitely something I wish I had had at my school. So really fun seeing his presentation and kind of finding these fun comics. So yeah, maybe keep an eye out for Comics Academy online, and yeah, it's really cool. So now some bigger stuff, kind of moving in somewhat of a logical order here. But there were quite a few places with either sales or I just, the book was out that week and I got it straight from the publisher. So I'm just going to go through some of the trades. I picked trades in collected editions and graphic novels that I found. So first, Empress, which I actually finished reading this recently. This is pretty fun. I had never read this Mark Miller and Stuart Immonen book before, but it's pretty fun space opera type story. And I think there's a book too. I'm not really sure. I believe it continues on because it is kind of an abrupt end. So I'm going to have to look for volume 2 and check that out soon. I also picked up and actually saw a great presentation on Spider-Man. And so this is one of the new Penguin Classics collections that they're putting out. So far they have Captain America, Spider-Man, and Black Panther. They look great. Great reproductions. They don't have the gross recoloring that happens. It looks like the original comic, but like the original comic when it was new. And it's just a beautiful collection of this first kind of initial, I want to say like maybe the first like 10 issues or so of Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man. So I got this for 50% off, so couldn't say no to that. Another book that I got for 50% off that I'd been meaning to get this into my collection, but it was Jimmy Corrigan, The Smartest Kid on Earth, Chris Ware book, which, people have different opinions about Chris Ware's work, but it definitely looks amazing. And I didn't have this. This is one of those, it's going to be in your top 50 lists probably of, maybe within arbitrary endpoints of stories in the last 20, 30 years or more. So I had to pick this up, and again, 50% off. I couldn't say no to that. Another thing that I believe this was in the 50% off was this Howard the Duck collection. Steve Gerber and a bunch of different artists. John Buscema included, Gene Colan, Sal Buscema, Brunner, Merrick. Just amazing talent. Yeah, Val Merrick, Frank Brunner, John Buscema, Gene Colan, Sal Buscema, Alan Weiss, Dave Cockrum, Tom Palmer's inking on that, Al Milgram, Dick Dearden, all these great people. Just I had to pick this collection up again. It doesn't have the gross recoloring you see. This was before they started adding all those stupid gradients that they shouldn't add. But it had to get this. I do have the first issue of Howard the Duck and a couple other random issues, and it's just a really important book, especially for Marvel. That is also a very weird point in their history. So picking up this nice collection for half off, totally worth it. And I already mentioned my love for Logan Rockets, Amor y Cohetes. This is a collection of short stories from Logan Rockets, I think including, yeah, Bem, which was like the first, Gilbert's first story in Logan Rockets. There are these other short stories. So just a bunch of like one-off brief short stories. Sorry, I think there's some naughty stuff I went by in there, but it's okay. You're gonna be fine. But yeah, I had to pick this up finally for 50% off. I'm trying to maybe put together all of the. I think I have all the Jaime books from this Fantagraphics collection. Probably gonna get the Gilbert ones too because he's great as well. So it's kind of cool. I picked up an art book from Sean Crystal, who does the Ink Pole podcast. He has a YouTube channel you should check out. He's a great artist, he's an educator as well. And he's really nice. I met him, was able to tell him how much ink pulp meant to me. But it's a lot of, there's layouts in here, there's character designs of his that he's done. I just really love his work. I love the very solid design sense he has. This is just excellent cartooning, very like, goes from very gestural to very like bold, big, correct choices as far as like shape design here. So I just really enjoy his art. You can check out some of his work on some issues of the Mother Panic that Jody Houser did back in, I want to say like 2015. I recently read those, and they're really great. And his work's in there. Also John Paullione's work, some John Paullione's work. So yeah, check out Sean's work elsewhere. I just really love what he does. Had to stop by the Oni booth because they put out Space Trash from Jen Woodall, who has done, if you haven't checked out the Magical Beatdown books, if you can find those from Silver Sprocket, they're very cool. They're like it's sort of like Sailor Moon meets a kind of brutal like street vigilante character who destroys men who are catcalling women inappropriately. But Space Trash is not like that. It's sort of about these three students. They're very punk rock, and they decide to cause trouble on their Space Academy base that they're on. Really fun story, and Jen's art is, she's amazing. She does it all in here. I think she wrote, color, drew, maybe even and lettered this whole thing. So she's just an excellent cartoonist. So definitely check out her work if you get a chance. Someone else that I saw at Comic-Con was Brian Michael Bendis, who is probably my favorite writer of the last 30 years. He has this book that this came out through Oni a while ago. I want to say this was like very early 2000s. When did this come out? Yeah, 2000 from Oni, and this is all about Brian dealing with Hollywood, dealing with I think an adaptation of one of his books. It's called Fortune and Glory. I bet you may not have even known that Brian actually drew. Maybe you did from like Jinx, but he has this kind of cartoony style that he did. I think he actually signed something for me one time with his face like this. But I have the collection of Fortune and Glory, and then one day I was at Cosmic Monkey and I found the single issues, which I didn't even realize he had serialized it initially. This is a very, I don't know if it's super rare, but I don't think a lot of people are going to think, that Brian Michael Bendis self-published this very cartoony, comedic take on his experience in Hollywood, or that you would even be able to find it. So as a super fan of Bendis, I had to pick these up, and it was so fun having him sign them. I think he was pretty tickled that I brought these. And then finally, I won't show you all the drawings because I don't think they all were that great, but I did participate in a little drink and draw event, and actually Vault was one of the sponsors, and they gave us these sketch covers, which I never actually did the thing that I was supposed to do to post this, but it's from Barbaric, which is a book I really enjoyed this year. And I did, a drawing of our guy on the front here. And yeah, that was a really fun event. Drink and draws. I haven't really been to one in quite a while, and that was the first one I think I'd been to, and it was a lot of fun. Again, my buddy Josh was there, hanging out and drawing with me, and some other folks. Actually, Comics Will Break Your Heart. Jen, she was there as well. So yeah, that was kind of the. That wasn't the total wrap up, but that was the Saturday, and that was just a really fun event. And this was the drawing I did that I thought, yeah, I thought it looked okay. I think I can do better than this, but I thought it would turn out pretty fun. And yeah, so thanks for watching the video. Again, I'm slow, but I'm trying to, crank out a few more videos for you. I might do one on the Portland Zine Symposium that I went to recently, and I have a couple more that I don't want to spoil the premise of because it's a little bit of a surprise. So hopefully I'll be coming up with more videos now that we're going into fall and winter. Maybe I'll have a little bit more time on the weekends to make some videos. So thanks for watching. And remember, Jack Kirby should be on our money. Thanks.